Hello, and welcome back to another Elevated Marketing podcast, where we simplify complicated digital marketing topics to help your business grow. My name is Jennifer, and I have with me
Brenda Jackson.
And today we are going to talk about content marketing ideas. Specifically, when you get to the blog post, we have 38 content marketing ideas that you are probably not thinking about. Will we get through all those today? Probably not. But that'll give you a good reason to go to the podcast and go look at the blog post, right? I wouldn't be doing my job as a marketer if I didn't get you back to the website. All right, let's do our fun question today. It's a different one. I have to dig deep here, Brenna. What is your favorite quality about yourself? So I'm going to ask you to basically brag on yourself.
Okay, well, I am perfect, so let me dig through the list here.
I know. It's your permission to be a little vain.
Well, I pretty much always have a plan, and it could be a Saturday, and I know what I'm doing for the day.
Yeah.
Like, I am, and I'm not always a spontaneous person. Like, I like structure. I'm a very structured person. How about that? I love myself.
I love that about you. I love how structured you are, but I will say that you can roll with things too, though.
Yeah.
But you anticipate. That's what your strong suit is, that you have plans because you anticipate A, B, and C might happen, and you know what you're going to do in A, B, and C. Yeah. So while you might say that you're very structured, you're actually just a planner. That's what you are.
Yeah.
And I love that. Which brings me to my favorite trait, which might not be everybody else's favorite trait. I think I have a unique ability to look at every situation in a positive light.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of things that happen to people that I see they get stuck really easily, and they get depressed or unmotivated and unable to move forward. And I'm not saying that that doesn't happen to me. I'm just saying that I've trained and tricked my brain into, when something happens negative, I don't dwell on it. I go into action mode, and I try to find the positive out of it, because life happens.
Yeah.
You cannot change what happens to you, but you can change how you react to it. Yeah. And so I think I just wish more people would look at life that way, because crap's going to happen, man.
Yeah, 99% of what's happening is really your perception of it, you know? And I think you do a great job at, like, you know what, this happened, but here's the positive.
Yeah, here's what we can do. Plan A, B, and C. All right. So let's talk about content ideas, because I think you and I have both experienced where, you get kind of in this rut, and, you forget about A, the power of the content that you create in your marketing, and B, all the different types that you can create.
Yes, we are victims of falling into the content rut sometimes.
So, I think sometimes we get really used to creating certain types of content because that's what we are comfortable with. However, your audience, no matter what you are marketing, needs a variety of different types of content, because it's rooted in the fact that we all learn and absorb content in different ways.
Yeah. And we've touched on this before, but I think we're going to go a lot deeper in terms of the different types of content
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But no, you're exactly right. Your audience, we all learn different ways. So
Some of us like to read.
yeah.
Some of us like audio. Some of us like visuals. And some of us like to watch a video.
Mhm.
And some of us like to interact with content. I mean, I could go on and on that you need to look at your content and make sure that you're constantly not just creating content that you're comfortable with, but your audience might be comfortable with.
Mhm. And of value too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you create valuable content, then people will eat that up.
Mhm.
And valuable content can definitely come from different aspects. Sometimes it's educational, sometimes it's just funny,
Mhm.
sometimes it's shareable, sometimes it's relatable. You know, like there's several angles that you can take. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, let's give some of the 38 that are not normally, type content that people might create, and
Mhm.
try to get your brains thinking of different types of content and why you should use that. So, Brenna, I'm going to let you go first, and we'll just go back and forth here with different ones.
Sounds good. One piece of content that you may not think about making is an infographic. It maybe sounds a little bit old school, but I think with the platforms we have access to today, you can also repurpose infographics a lot of times.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this, you could have a blog post and turn that into an infographic. Well, then that infographic could then be shared maybe in that same blog post, or maybe in your email marketing, social media marketing. Infographics really could go, you can even print an infographic.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, it's visual. So this is for the visual learner, and it visually connects sometimes pretty boring facts and figures into something visually, and you will get your message across more clearly versus written text. You could have the exact same information,
Mhm.
but it will resonate more. So yeah, I definitely like infographics.
Yeah.
Case studies. So, some of us don't think about this, but people need to know they're not the guinea pig. They
Mhm.
need to know that you have done this before and you've been successful with other people up similarly. And you need to create case studies on your website that will really resonate with the people that want your product or service, and they need to understand that you've solved their problem before.
Mhm.
And of course, this makes great social media content, great email marketing content, great website content. But I would not underestimate the value of creating case studies.
Yep. Agreed with that. Another one, quizzes and surveys. These are for your audience members who like interactive content. You may be asking questions that are yes or no, but it does make them think, and they are interacting. They're going to retain some of this content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you've done some unique ways with quizzes, where you've turned it into building your email list.
Yep. It's a great way to do that.
And when you build these quizzes, you're basically can build a quiz that makes someone self-select that they need your product or service. It's a great marketing tool, that not only serves the end user, but also can help you from a marketing standpoint.
Mhm. Yeah. And you could even lead back to a blog post with these quizzes too. It may not always come through as an email. I hope it
Yeah.
does. But, you could land and lead to other forms
Yeah.
of content.
So another type of content that you could create is how-to and tutorials.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people kind of struggle with, well, I don't want to tell people how to do it. I want them just to hire us. And I can understand that mentality. However, most people are not going to have the years of experience and trials and tribulations that you have. They just want to understand the mechanics of it. And then they're going to be like, okay, well, I need to hire them.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want to know that you have the knowledge to solve their problems. And so, how to's and tutorial content really can help showcase, especially in these situations where, your product or service, you need to be very knowledgeable. It showcases that you actually know what you're doing.
Hmm. And if it is maybe more of a product and you are providing tutorials and how-tos on how to use your product differently, that's very valuable content.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, we have a couple different clients, like somebody that has an app, like how to's and tutorials could help people more clearly understand how to use the app. Um, what about like a product that we're marketing for, where the how to's and the tutorials of, how to help somebody use that product? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that kind of helpful content there will, make people want to use you when they need you.
Yep, for sure. Another content idea, contests and giveaways. So it's kind of a double whammy here. Both parties can kind of get something out of a contest or giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
This is great for boosting your engagement, attracting new followers, your incentive.
Creating excitement.
Yeah, yeah, and just getting that overall participation.
Yeah.
I think, of course, they're being entered to win something, and that's great. But also for you, you can get some user generated content out of that a lot of times. And
Yep.
I mean, kind of a win win.
Yeah. Well, and we did a show, a while back, or we have a piece of content on, doing guarantees and creating that user generated content. And so you need to kind of go through and make sure, you've got all that. But you have to create graphics, you have to create like posts, you have to create all that content that is related to that in order to market it. And you're right, you're going to get a lot of potentially user generated content and buzz that you might not have normally got without that contest and giveaway.
Yep. Yep.
So, okay. Um, Behind the scenes content. I can't stress this enough that in today's TikTokification world, everybody wants to see what it's like to do different jobs behind the scenes, and they eat up and absorb that content like it's candy.
Yeah. The simple a day in my life as a digital marketer.
How popular is that,
Yeah.
and what you think is super boring, other people are like, oh, that's fascinating, I didn't know, because it's educational, and they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that you had to do that and do that, so it's definitely a great piece of content to create.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Customer success stories. I think this could kind of tie hand in hand with like case studies in a sense, but having that social proof,
Yeah.
and highlighting a specific customer story, that's a great way to get some content out there that's not buy, and highlighting how you solved a customer's problem.
Yeah, there's so many benefits to that. I mean, you could have reviews that come out of that that's useful for your website,
Mhm.
useful for Google My Business, useful for your case studies, like having someone else tell your story. Maybe it's video content, maybe it's shorts or reels, like there's so much value out of that customer story. Maybe it's a commercial. I mean, how many commercials have you seen where they bring somebody else in and, they have them tell the story of their product or service? So creating that type of content can be used in a lot of different ways that I think people don't think about.
Yep, for
So,
sure.
okay, FAQs. Boy, seems like such a simple thing. But content that is around, simple questions that people have in an FAQ format helps give you somewhere to lead to when somebody asks about your product or service. You already have answered that question, and potentially it leads into a longer form content like a blog post because you have those basic FAQs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
I think there's a lot there. And I know there's a lot more, and we've only touched on like a couple of them. Maybe one more, Brenna, and then I feel like we need to get everybody over to our piece of content.
Man, the last one, this is some pressure. It's kind of simple though. Daily tips or hacks. A lot of times you can pull this type of content from other pieces of content you've already produced.
Yeah.
It's of quick value, but it's still showing some valuable content, and it's not in depth, so it's easy to kind of comprehend or to grasp and scan over. So
I think the reason people overlook this a lot because they're so involved in their business and their own marketing that simple questions that seem simple to you are not simple to the audience that you are trying to attract.
yeah.
So creating that content that is simple, facts, tips, tricks, however you want to call it, hacks is helpful to that end user because they don't know. Yeah. So, okay. So if you want to get the rest of the tips and tricks and hacks of content marketing and tips that you can do, there are 38 of them, and it will be over on the website.